everyone. Thank you for bearing with me. I tried doing this like an hour ago, and puppies, man. So, you might hear my dog Bear in the background. And this is my cat Alita. We call her Little Mamas. I'm not sure if anyone's gonna be here, but today we just re-upped on some marijuana. And I thought I would roll and chat. Well, technically it's pack and chat because we're not rolling, we're just using cones. So, for my smokers out there who are bougie and don't like bongs or bowls, I really like these. They're called Lazy Susans. I swear by these, okay? If you're a raw person, raw cones, raw papers, this is the next best thing, if not the best thing. Man, I've been going through it. Like, oof. So I wanted to get on here, chit chat, and talk while we pack and chat. So here's the first one. All right. You talk to me, I talk to you. What's going on? You like this grinder? A lot of you guys are anti-smoking, so I do apologize. We got a cat in the background. I do apologize for those who are not friends with the marijuana, but I will say this is not sponsored by Curaleaf, okay? Curaleaf. Man, I have some Karen stories, bro. I've been a real Karen lately, and I'd really just like to say Karina. Just call me Karina, bro. It's so bad. It's so bad. My dog is crying in the background. Naturally, once we start trying to go live, some shit goes down. But yeah. Pineapple Express Classic. If you hear weird breathing, weird labored breathing, it's her. Okay, so let me tell you guys about this experience. Are you Allison? Happy birthday. How old are you? What are you doing for your birthday? Sagittarius? Oh no, honey, you can't be here. 10 years old. I thought I restricted this. Oh, you're too young to be watching me. 10 years old. What the hell? That's so funny. So I'm just not like 10-year-olds aren't here, but so funny. You guys are hilarious. Just so funny. I'm sorry, Bear. So, anyways, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I get. So, I just got a dog, a puppy, for those of you who don't know. And I don't know. I saw somebody going into the dispensary with their dog, right? And I thought it was okay. But I put her in a carrier, right? I wasn't gonna be that person, but she's only a few weeks old. I wasn't gonna leave her alone with the big ass dog. But yeah. So I go in there, right? Oh my god. Excuse me, ma'am, what's in the carrier? I wanted to say something really inappropriate, but I was like, a puppy, I can't leave her in the car. And they just like, I don't know why I always like see other people just get away with shit. Literally, the other dispensary I went to not even 2 weeks ago, this woman just walked in with her dog on a leash and everything. So I was like, you know, if someone's gonna jump off a cliff, why the fuck can't I? So of course, I don't know. I just always feel like other people can do certain things, but I can't. So I go in there, and this old ass man who is obviously like, I can't be like ageist or sexist or whatever, but man, like I just be going there. Like he was just taking his job way too seriously. He's like, hold on, you know? And this other guy, just to give you a visual, he was like a younger Latino guy, but he took his job way too seriously as well. And he was like, oh, well, um, they were like holding me up in line. So I was like, okay, she's just a puppy. I'm not gonna leave her alone in the car, and she's in a carrier. So I was just trying to talk to them, and they just kept interrupting me, and that's like another thing that I don't like. And again, like I don't really take things personal. I don't. It's just like the bad interactions that you have. They just kind of have to like finagle, like just poor customer service. But it's like you can't really expect much these days. You know what I mean? So then this guy, the Latino guy, is like, "Well, we got to go in the back and talk to an employee who wasn't even out on the like little teller line." By the way, you guys, I don't even know why I'm using my hands. She wasn't even out. Like, well, she's deathly. She's not allergic. He's like, she's death. No, what did he say? He was like, basically, he just said, blah blah blah. She's gonna go into shock and die. And I was like, well, the dog's in the carrier and it's a hypoallergenic breed. And he's like, it's not an allergy. Okay, you mean like my girl when the dude like got stung by bees and like died? Like I don't freaking know. So I'm just standing there, right? And they're like holding me up. And I think that's the part that I was most mad about, right? Because I'm like, just let me go. Like, why are you detaining me on the side? Like two people went ahead of me. Luckily, it wasn't like that busy, but I'm like, this is a time that I could just be waiting in line. But he was like detaining me, not even making conversation, not even looking my way. I'm like, okay. And I was like, really? Shock and death? And he's like, anaphylactic shock and death. I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't understand what you said, like facetiously. And he like called me like a bitch under his breath, and I was like, whatever, dude. Like, I just gotta go get my weed with my puppy in my arms. Like, I felt like a degenerate mom, bro. Like, I really, really did. It was crazy. Yeah. So yeah, those were our adventures for the day. But luckily, my puppy wasn't being loud or anything. But I'm just like, dude, I can't even. Like, I really thought that getting a little travel size puppy was gonna be fun, and here people are like, whoa, 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 whoa. We gotta tell this employee who's all the way in the back, who hasn't even come out, who's not gonna come out, that she can't come out here with the dog that's in the carrier. I'm like, whoa, bro. Whew. So that's what I've been going through. But I mean, like I said, like I really try to break down things like why I take things a certain way or like why I get upset over things. I just really break it down. Like I'll give you another example. I don't know what that means. I'm too old for that. The fuck? I have to like urban dictionary shit. Please explain. Is it like the new 6ix9ine? Because I live under a rock and it'd be nice if somebody just explained. It'd be cool if, somebody like Elaine was in here tonight. Yeah. So we're just packing our emergency blunt for hard times. And yeah. Okay, and another thing too. Oh my god, I gotta tell you guys the freaking PetSmart stories, dude. I don't even care anymore. I used to be like, oh, I'm not gonna say the name, I'm not gonna say the name, but apparently there's a bunch of TikToks about how awful they are. I didn't say it, I was just repeating the stories. But yeah, so if you guys care about my animals and animals, and like it's just like little stupid shit that happens here and there, you know what I mean? But essentially, the vet tries to push like hydrolyzed diets, right? So with the hydrolyzed diet, it's not like a normal thing that you can just go and grab and walk out. You need to get like a prescription, all these things, and it's a whole thing. It's actually really complicated. Again, people just taking their job way too seriously. You know what I mean? So we are smoking Pineapple Express, a classic. Got a half O of hybrid. So yeah, we were dry for like 2 days. I'm so glad that somebody appreciates smoking in here because the last time people were like, "You're gonna ruin your life," and I'm like, "It's too late, you guys. It's too late." Uh-huh. You too. You too. But yeah, so I figured we're gonna pack up. I would say roll up, but it's pack up and smoke and chat about random shit because, like I was saying earlier, I've been a real freaking Karina lately. That's the Latina version of a Karen. And I don't mean to be. I'm not. I don't mean to be. Like, I don't go around looking for a manager, looking for a problem. And I don't know. I just feel like things are just a lot different these days, especially when you're going to an establishment that you used to work at, that you know things about. Granted, things change all the time, but so long story short is I already knew that I have two prescriptions for my cat and my dog that needed to be renewed, right? So I was ahead of the game and I went to a different PetSmart in a different location, not where I used to work. And the lady was really nice and we chatted up. This was yesterday. And I only had gotten one bag for my cat and it was fine. But it's the same cashier every single time. She must work the same shift at the same time, and that's cool. And maybe she just reminds me of this that I used to know. And she's nice, but like again, like taking the job way too seriously a little bit. And I'm just like, all right, whatever. So I've been seeing her for the past like, I don't know, 2 weeks straight since we've had this dog. I haven't seen anybody else but this one cashier. And today I go get my dog's food, right? Now this is important because one of them says hydrolyze and one of them doesn't. Again, like petty stories, petty Karina times, man. And I go in the back, and there's so many, unlike the cat ones, there's so many different hydrolyzed. There's like puppy ones, and then there's like different variations of it, but it's all hydrolyzed, right? So I'm looking for the best one. I'm looking for like the most affordable one because they're all expensive. So my indecisive ass finally freaking picks one, and it's pretty much all the same ones that I've been getting. Never had a problem, but the only problems I would have is with the prescription, which I already upped, renewed, whatever, right? So I was expecting a problem yesterday. There was no problem yesterday. Today I wasn't expecting a problem, and it was a little bit of a problem, but not really. But I felt a little bit vindicated. Just like I really broke it down on why I was upset. Again, not taking it personal, not about me. It's just the fact of people taking their jobs too seriously and then like slight disrespect, but like would do it with anybody, I guess. Mm. But yeah, long and short of it is I go up there and she had just seen me yesterday, but she acting like she don't know, whatever, fine. They don't recognize, fine. Not a celebrity, cool. And she's like, "Oh, it needs to say hydrolyzed PS, which is what was on it." And I was like, "No, it doesn't." She's like, "Yes, it does." And I was like, "Listen, I used to work here, not at this one. I hated to pull that card. I was like, I'm in a hurry. My dog needs it." She's like, "Okay, but I'm not gonna approve it next time. So you need to get that updated." And I was like, "Dude, I already updated it yesterday, and I said that to her yesterday, and she was just very dismissive about it." So I go in the back, I'm like, "Yo, can you help me out? You just need to tell this girl like it's cool." And she physically walked up there and was like, "Yeah, she's good for it." And the chick was like, "Can you write it down?" She's like, "No, she's good for it. Like, she can get any type of hydrolyte she wants." And I was like, "Thank you so much." Woo. Again, I think it's just because she reminded me of this girl that I used to know. Like, why do I get so upset over these things? It's not even like about the interaction, it's about something else that I'm going through. And just like being like mad about everything else. So, like, when you go through those things, like, you're really trying to be respectful, but then like they're not actually listening to you when you're talking to them, and it just feels very dismissive. So on that note, we're gonna roll this one up. Team Great Meme Reset. Huh. Interesting. So yeah, petty story times that don't really matter, but I figured it was a good segue to talk about the PetSmart days because that's what it reminded me of and all the petty that came with it. Whew. I still haven't told you guys all of that story. And I really feel like I need to like write it down and just tell y'all what happened. for real from the start, middle, and end. But I think right now I'm going to jump to the very end because I haven't talked about the very end yet. I talked about the very beginning, not so much the middle, but the very end was a little fucked up. That one, like, still has my head spinning. Like, I can't really process how that happened or why that happened. It was just so out of left field. It's a little better. My animals are chilling, so I only have like 10-15 minutes left. I always cough on this shit. It doesn't matter what it is, I'm always coughing. It's like since I was so little. 17 little. 17 again, please. Take me back, Taj Mori. Make that soap. So yeah. PetSmart really got fucked up for me. I don't even know the range of time. I guess the range of time doesn't really matter. But like towards the very end, right? This was messed up. I have an ashtray. Oh, here. All right, Lord, give me the courage to tell the story because we're on live right now and there's no edits. All right. So I have to say that being newer to this industry, and I've been in a lot of different industries, and one thing that I learned late is that, and this is coming from people who've been in the industry for over 20 years, at least 10, or like there's a lot of mentally ill people who are drawn to this industry, the animal industry, dog industry. And I was like, oh, that makes total sense. In retrospect, I had no idea. It's not like I would have avoided going into it had I known, but I would have been a little bit more prepared. Now, the good thing is, I too am mentally ill, and I've been through the ringer with like bullshit, high school, whatever. So I can honestly say that if it wasn't for going through those things when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have handled this the best. But I really truly realized that this is the reason that I went through the high school bullshit. Cause honestly, it was like the gauntlet. It was the gauntlet. And I really felt like I was on real world road rules bullshit. I kid you not. Like with the interviews behind the scenes and everything, like some the office shit, something so satirical and so ridiculous. I'm telling you guys, like when Issa Rae came out, someone was like, "Oh, that new show Insecure reminds me of you," and I was like, "I know, right? Because that's the shit that be going on in my head, like the shit that you want to say versus the shit that happens in real life." So there was just a lot of just drama between whatever. It was just a lot of mostly it was between like the bathers, myself, and the stylist. Because the stylist, I realized this is all in hindsight. They worked their ass off to get to that position, right? And they'll be damned if anybody takes away from them. And it's not that like a bather who gets promoted to a stylist is going to take away from that, but they're very competitive when it comes to money. And I didn't know this until later, but the reason why they would get so competitive over money and weird about appointments and stuff is because they only got commission. They only got commission for haircuts, right? So if they didn't have a lot of clients or they had, a shitty, I wouldn't say like a shitty client, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like there was a time towards the end where they weren't giving me any dogs. So basically, I was hourly at the time. But I'm glad that I left because they probably wouldn't have given me any dogs anyway. So if a stylist got a bath dog for whatever reason, they would get so mad because they're not going to get jack shit unless they get a tip. And let me tell you, nobody's tipping out here. All right. There's people who are tipping, but like nobody's tipping out here. All right. Because it just so happens that everywhere you go, everyone's asking for a tip, but the actual service industries that are providing the service are not getting tipped. You shouldn't expect it, but I think anybody who tips decently has worked in the service industry at some point, whether it be food, like you're just providing a service, hairstylist, something. So I'm just giving you guys a little background. But essentially, I was the only bather in the beginning. Then 2 months later, there was another one. We'll talk about that another day. I've talked about River before. River and I are cool. Like if I saw him in person, we'd be fine. But essentially in his mind, he won because he saw me as competition and he took over. But I'm not.
I'm not faulting him for that. Like I helped him out. I sound so like, but I've taken a long time to like get over it and just see that my path was different and my path takes a little bit longer. And he got ahead of me. Like he did triumph in his head, but there was no competition for me other than just focusing on me. But his whole thing was money, 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 money. Like it got to a point where he'd be like, "Oh, if you weren't here and I was the only bather, that'd be my 20. That'd be my fin." Like, bro, why are you counting my dollars? But then I started doing it too because I was in that environment and everybody was just like, bro, I started thinking that people were stealing my tips. And I know that they were because one guy had a guilty conscience and I know that he did it before, even though he looks like the most unsuspecting motherfucker. But he had a guilty conscience, and like 20 minutes later, he was like, "Oh, here's that 20 for that dog." And I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And he's like, "Oh, I just forgot." And like you could just tell that he like got eaten up about it. And I was telling them, I was like, "Yo, check the cameras, woo woo," but like no one was. And then they like, I didn't know this at the time, but they were kind of setting me up to see if I was going to take the tips because twice this girl, my previous manager, who's still cool with me, who like when I think about these things and I bury them so far, and this is why, because I get upset when I think about it, she knew which table was mine, right? It's a fishbowl. It's only like 10 tables, if not less, right? And she knew which table was mine. And that was another thing is that everybody had their own table, but anytime I tried to assign my own table, that was like, this is mine. Like other people would use it. And then River was just getting like he was making me mad in the beginning because I'd be like, yo, if you're gonna use something, put it back where it belongs. And he would just constantly, constantly use it and put it back somewhere else. And I'm so type A OCD, like I lose my shit if my shit's not in my place and if I can't find it. And if somebody else used it, that's another mental thing that I have. Like I just lose it. Like I really try to keep calm, but I'm like, you can tell I'm losing my shit. And no matter how many times I told that fucker, he just always and like he did it just to like piss me off, just to see how I would react. And I'm just like as upset as I get, I'm so passive aggressive because I'm not gonna be aggressive because I promise you you don't want to see aggressive. But you know I'm mad. And he would always be like, "Oh, I can tell by the look on your face," and like blah blah. I'm like, cool. Like that was a whole thing too. He was like, your emotions are on your face. I'm like, yeah, bro, that's why you're a fellow thespian. You understand. Like, I just have the emotions. Like, I have the wrinkles on my forehead to be like, yo, like, what the fuck? Like, that's a problem when I told you it's a problem. So just petty shit. So here's my thing. Again, I didn't see River as competition, but then all of a sudden they started hiring more bathers when we didn't even fucking need any more guys. Not only was it a small fucking fishbowl, but they were barely even giving me any dogs, and then they were giving him all the dogs. And then there was like a whole thing that I tried to say, hey, some of these dogs are too wild for me, they're too heavy, I need help. And then they would give River the small dogs and then me the big dogs, and then I get hurt in the process because I couldn't handle those dogs because they were too big for me. Guess what, guys? The place that I'm at right now, they're huge ass dogs. They're huge. Like there's some of them that are huge. It has nothing to do with the size. It's the behavior. And like when they pull me, like that shit would like got me flying and I fucked up my shit so hard. And they're like, well, it's because you can't handle it, blah, blah. Like saying it was a meat problem. I'm like, yeah, it's a meat problem, but like I know what I can handle. So why can't we go within those vicinities? So they didn't, and they just started giving me less shit. And I was like, that's fine, you know. It didn't really matter anyway because they started cutting my hours and stuff, and I guess that's what corporate does. Like when they want to get rid of you, they cut your hours and then they give you holiday pay or vacation time or whatever. But you know what? It worked out perfectly because right when I quit, I used all my vacation time. So that was a sign. It was like you're just on the market. I didn't have to like refund any money back or anything. So I'm gonna end it like this. I gotta get going, but there was this guy, always a motherfucking guy, but he was such a non motherfucking factor. Okay, shout out to Evelyn. If you guys know, like he was such a non-motherfucking factor. Like they just tried to do different things. It was just all crazy. It was just all craziness. But essentially, there was this guy who was a cashier, right? And usually, when you hire people who are like cashier or bather, whoever, like they stay in their position. Well, they were cutting my hours. They're like, well, do you want to go do stocking? Sure, but not really. You guys, my personal hell would be stocking and restocking something every day for the rest of eternity. And it just never, ever, ever being filled and always empty. It's kind of like just redoing like dishes like over and over and over. That's how the river flows, honestly. It wasn't even his real fucking name. Fuck ass. Like that. I was like, when I heard that, I was like, that's not your real name. So we could have used nicknames. I could have been Cat this whole time with a K, and this motherfucker comes in like River, and I'm supposed to act like that's his name. It suited him in the end. Oy vey. I'm not gonna get heated over this. But yeah. So this was the ironic part because it wasn't really anybody in the gauntlet. It was like the grassy. I'm not gonna compare myself to Drake, okay? But I'm just saying it was like the grassy with the original cast versus like the new people. You know how some of the new people would come in and then they would stay there or they would just dip. This guy, I think he just dipped, but like he tried to stay. And look, guys, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I'm not prejudgmental or I make judgments on people or I like size them up. Apparently, this is what it was said. But of course, like my friend Elaine on here, I get I believe that first impressions are not everything. Okay, I've been dead ass wrong in good and bad ways, like pleasantly and horrifically surprised. Okay, they're not everything, but sometimes you just get that feeling up in your soul. Yeah, well, I didn't know what to think of him. I wasn't really thinking of him, but from what I gather, and I'm just telling you guys from my perspective, again, this is only one perspective of what went down. He was just this like tall, white. Okay, if you guys have ever seen Good Trouble, which you probably haven't, it's on Hulu. It's over now. But there was the autistic CEO man. Okay, this guy, he ended up being one of my favorite characters, but this guy looked like to a T. To a T. Okay, like minus the autisticness, but maybe, and just to a T. So again, it's like reminding me of somebody that like very, very quiet, but kind of looked like I just felt something off. And I didn't realize that until way later. But I never talked to him, and then if I talked to him, it was, like, very, like it was friendly, it was cordial, "Hi, how are you?" Like, he wasn't antisocial, but he wasn't super social, okay? Like, I'm telling you, on the totem pole, like, this guy was at the bottom as far as, like to me, like, never talked to him, never, like, nothing, nothing, like, nothing, okay? And I would just see him in passing all the time, and there'd be times where I'd be dancing and then I would like make eye contact with him from like across the way and then like he'd look away, like feel really uncomfortable. And like that was one of the things too, is like I was genuinely happy there. It got to a point I got these new headphones, which are gone by the way now. And I was just on a frequency dancing my ass off. Like I really be Delulu and think that my life is like a fucking step up movie music video. I'm gonna have to battle off, dance, Moose. That guy Moose, awesome. I'm gonna have to Allison Stoner it, but it just doesn't go that way. So I just remember just feeling like everybody was miserable there. I was okay being me and like genuinely happy. Like there was a coffee shop that I always go to. There was like plenty of stores. There was Five Below. I don't know if you guys know what Five Below is, but it's really cheap snacks and it's fucking great. And little knickknacks and trinkets and it's awesome. Like I was having the time of my life finally doing something that I loved. And I think that's really important to say because in the beginning I was like, why does everybody hate it here? And then I realized how fucking awful it turned out to be. And trust me, there's so much more lore. There's so many more intricacies and layers to this, okay? I haven't even touched the surface. But okay, yeah. So this guy, one day it's not even like I'm not even tell you like this is actually good. One day he brings in tacos. And it was great. But the tacos were a little bit off. And my manager was then saying, my direct manager, I'm gonna call her DM because she was awesome, but she played devil's advocate. She was like, oh yeah, he has a Mexican wife and it's his father-in-law's place. So I'm making the connections. Okay, this guy, he's friendly, he works out. I mean, this guy was swole. Like I'm not saying like in a sexy way attract like no. There's a story to this. There's a story to me telling you this. Segue to this. But like he was just he was just like, "Urgh," you know, he was a scary guy, but like he was just like a bear. Like he was like a soft bear, right? So I'm gathering, I'm like, okay, he's married to a Mexican. They don't have kids. Okay. Like I guess I'm assessing, but I'm just like, this is what I do with everybody, right? Didn't even think about this guy. So then one day, this is like coming towards the end, I go into the break room and he's just undressing there. And I'm like, "Oh, hello." And I don't look at him. I don't look at him at all. I see him from the corner of my eye. But I'm like, "You couldn't do this in the bathroom that's literally like two things down." And I'm not saying that he did it to like in front of me or like, but like the guy wants to be looked at because he's literally like that guy who's working out. But I wasn't even paying attention. I didn't even look, bro. Like I literally wear my ring. Like it wasn't even like that. It wasn't even like that. I'm just saying. Like I'm just making observations and that made me really uncomfortable. So I was like, fine, whatever. I'm not looking at you. You need to go to the bathroom. Like I don't care if like just because you're a guy doesn't mean that you like girls can't do it. I solemnly believe that guys shouldn't wear their shirts off. If girls can't, neither can guys because some of them be having huge ass titties and it makes women feel uncomfortable. Okay? It does. So then all of a sudden, he's not only the cashier and the stalker, not stalker, stock inventory person. um, Now he's trying to be the bather too. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, again, this is like the third or fourth person. And I'm like, there's so many people in this fishbowl. We don't need more bathers. Why are you guys doing this? You know, I was getting mad because, like, for me, it was becoming competitive, like river, you know, as the river flows. It was just like me being like, like that's my competition too. Like they're taking my money away. Like what the fuck? I can barely get a dog around here when y'all are just giving them, passing them around to everybody else. I love dogs. I hate people. But honestly, y'all, like babies and animals fuck with me, and that's all I need. You know, that's all I need. And y'all are the real ones. Um. Oh yeah. So Muscles over here comes in and I barely see him, right? They have him working when I'm not working, kind of. And then I remember having a conversation in passing about a dog situation, and he interjected and agreed with me on something. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, this guy's cool. You know, he's friendly. Never going out of my way to say anything like more than hi, hello, how are you? Okay, cool. Like, I think he talked about his dogs. I asked him what kind of dogs he had. Like, honestly, and tacos. I was really grateful for those tacos, even though they kind of sucked. Like, I know good tacos, bro. And those hit like in the beginning and in the middle, but at the end, it was shit. Like, the aftertaste was weird. I'm not hating. I'm just being honest. I'm a food reviewer. Hello, motherfuckers. In my head. Ebert Ropert head ass. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm blocking the cat, but she's all curled up. So, anywho, this is where it comes boiling down. So, again, I'm giving you guys the whole setup. Did you just hear all of that? Like at no point or the other did I ever have a bad interaction with this person up until this point. Everyone knew him as friendly. Everyone knew him as helpful. I saw some shit in the fucking break room that was like, "Oh, you're so helpful." And all. I'm not. I'm just saying like what the voice I heard in my head. Like, you know, you go above and beyond. And here's the thing, y'all. Here's a segue because that used to be me too. Even with River, right? I used to go above and beyond. And you know what that got me? More work, less pay. Shit. And you know what? Those years that I have on me of me being whatever amount older, I know River was like 10 years older. I'm like, it's taught me not to go so fucking hard, you know, but at the same time, kind of got bit in the ass for it. Cause again, I feel like there are certain people who can get away with shit. And then when you try to do some shit, you don't really get away with it. So I'm not saying that I wasn't innocent in all this, guys. Like, I really try to take the easy way out, but I also didn't want to go so ham. Like, I did my thing. I put the numbers in. I sold stuff, but I did it from the bottom of my heart. And some days it wasn't good sales. But you know what I got for that? Nothing. I didn't get commission, nothing. It only went into the manager's pocket. My DM, direct manager. So I get it. I'm not mad. I am mad now that you're trying to be a bather too. 'Cause you know what? The stylist already made it. The bathers are still in the gauntlet, baby. We still gotta break through. I'm putting that out. Pineapple Express is dangerous. I will pack my emergency blunt for an emergency. I always thank my past self when I do something good like that. It was such a surprise last time I found it. I was like, oh, you know when you're like looking for the last like nug, and then you find that you're like, oh my god, there is Jesus. Okay, so one day, must have been April 3rd. I really do think it was April 3rd. Because no, it was April Fools, which is why I was bamboozled. I thought it was an April Fool's joke. I really, really did. It was April Fools. And I can't even tell you how the day started or ended, but like, oh my god, it was all over a donut. Doreen and the motherfucking donut. My fat ass gets in trouble over weed and food is crazy all the time. It's always a setup. If that doesn't say that these things are dangerous for me, I just shouldn't do it. It's a setup against myself. All right. I gotta get going, but let me tell you. I'll talk about Doreen and the donut another day, but it has to do with what happened. But essentially, this guy comes in and he had just walked out, and he comes back in. And I was like, yo, like, how are you so happy all the time? Like, I just don't get it. Like, I guess he was saying in passing, like, he didn't want people's tips. And I was like, how do you get that mindset? Like, I genuinely want to know. And I wasn't even being facetious, but you know my ass. If people don't understand me, I sound sarcastic. I'm very satire. Meh. And he's like, oh, I won a lawsuit. And I don't know if he was being facetious, but at the time I fully believed him. And I was like, word. That's so awesome. I've always wanted that to happen to me because I've heard so many stories about people. Like my one friend, she fell into like, not fell into a ditch, but like she tripped on some shit, fucked up her elbow or whatever the fuck, got better, and got like 50 grand from the freaking city that she was living in. Like, what? So I genuinely was like, oh, word, like what it must be like to be free. Kid you not. This was the reaction 180. Right when I said that, he goes, what the fuck is your problem? What? And I blinked out, but he was like, yeah, like I said it. Like, what's your problem with me? Like, you've been sizing me up, like ever since, like whatever. Like, he got like very angry. And like, this guy's big, you guys. And I'm not saying like I was getting scared because it was just like a big shadowy figure. Like I didn't think he was gonna do anything, but then like he started like hulking over towards me, right? Like he did. And they said in the they said that when they watched the cameras he didn't, but he was at one point of the room and got physically closer to me. And I was like, is this a joke? Cause and like there was two other people in the room. It was my DM and everything. And I was like, what do you mean? And like he was very serious and like he got red in the face and was like hulking up. Like I just remember his face being red and like hulking up. And I was like, I was genuinely just trying to have a conversation with you, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like it made me realize like not to be so much in like people's business, like mind your business. But again, like the environment that I was in, like it was a learning lesson for me. Like mind your business, don't count people's money. So I think he had just had that thing. But like the whole point of it is, guys, is like it scared me a little bit after the end. Like I cried, but I cried because it was just so unexpected. And then even though there were like two other people there and like they said what happened, I don't know what statements were said because I just left because they try to say that like they try to write me up for conduct. And I was like, I didn't do anything. Like that guy hulked up at me and like walked over. I was genuinely just trying to talk to him. But because of Doreen and the donut situation that just happened like 10 minutes before, they're like, oh, you're gonna get written up for conduct. And if you don't sign this, then you can just leave. And I was like, all right, bet, like I'm gonna leave because I don't agree with this. I didn't do anything wrong. Like Doreen, I'll take the L for, but she had been disrespectful for like 3 times before, and I was just standing up for myself. So I'll be damned if an old ass lady tries to talk shit to me again. God rest her soul. She didn't die yet, but she's on her way. Um, but yeah, and then ever since then, like he couldn't look me in the face. And then when they had that conversation with me in the office, the glass door was clear. And I like looked over and he like looked away, like he like saw me and then he looked away and he's like walking all prideful. Like he didn't even feel like he was in the wrong. Like he was just like, yeah, like I'm strong, man. Like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna quit. Like on that accord, I'm gonna quit. And I've talked about this before. It was just crazy, you guys. But you know what? I think it was because I reminded him of somebody, maybe his wife, or just the fact of like Mexican and tacos or whatever, or he had just been through something because what I saw in that moment wasn't something about me, but the fact that I can bring that out of somebody by just genuinely have like I really had no bad intentions in the questions I was asking. Intrusive, yes, because I'm nosy and I need to mind my business and get some business. I'll take the L on that. But I'm glad that no one got hurt on that situation because you hear fucking stories, bro. You hear stories that one bitch fucking killed her manager that just tried to send her home early for not doing work. Like, you hear crazy stories. And I had told them about some other, like, there were so many other things that had happened, not even with me, with other people that had like safety concerns. And they did nothing to like try to protect us with certain things. Even this one girl was getting harassed by some homeless guy outside and like approached her car and like the guy did nothing. They said they were gonna fire him. They didn't. It was crazy, like toxic shit. Whew. And so it's just ironic for them to like try to write me up for conduct when they kind of like did nothing to control the environment or like help the environment to like alleviate things. But it's just so many personalities in a fishbowl that it's just gonna be the next series of Degrassi, like the next thing, you know? Who's next? But I will say I'm very grateful to be in this place where I'm working by myself pretty much because when I went into PetSmart yesterday, it was a different one and I looked in and it was so small, you guys. It was the same like bubble glass decor where you couldn't really see and they're looking at me like, why the fuck is this bitch looking at us when they're all facing like the veterinary place for whatever reason? And I was like, if they're asking why I'm looking at them, I'm just having flashbacks to Nam. And I told her about it and I was like, I'm really lucky to be in this place where I'm by myself now and I have very well behaved dogs. So it all happened for a reason. But damn, there's so much more to the story, you guys. But yeah, how do we get even, Elmer? All right, well, thank you for talking to me. Um, Clay, it was Pineapple Express. Thank you for all the love. Hello, Joshua. Thanks for constant support. Thank you for listening. Lucy and Elaine, I wish you were here. Elmer, thanks for joining me. I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for listening too.